Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of VSN Volleyball Weekly. Eric Richey, as always, pleased and proud to be joined by Coach Jodee Pulizzano. Coach Jodee, you got rave reviews for episode 1. The fans love you. You're good.
Unbelievable. I can't believe it.
Can't believe that you're good? I knew you.
No, I can't believe that people actually listen to us.
That is a startling fact in its own, but we're very grateful that they do. And we're glad they're here for episode 2 because we have 3 guests on this week. We're going to talk to Rene Fontenot at Sam Houston to get ready for that Thursday match with St. Thomas More. We're going to bring in Reece Aultman from 2D Volleyball. He's going to set the stage for North Louisiana Volleyball. Big match up there Tuesday, Natchitoches Central against Ruston. And then finally we get to do some college. Jeremy White from Southeastern. Some unbelievable matches for his team already. We're going to talk to Coach Jeremy, but first, like we do every show, Coach Jodee, what do we do? How does volleyball matches start? How do they start?
A coin toss.
Let's do it. You call it in the air. Whoever wins gets to go first or second, whatever you want.
Tails.
Here it is. Oh, it's tails. You win again.
Ooh,
do you want to serve or do you want to serve receive?
No. Yeah, I want to receive.
All right, so I'm serving?
Yep.
All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to serve and lead off this show, and it's something that's going to maybe kind of stump you because you stumped me last week, and this isn't where I'm not going to stump you every week. I'm not going to try, but let's see if you can tell me the one common denominator with these high schools. Are you ready? All right, think about it. Pope John Paul, Dunham, Dutchtown, Turling's Catholic, Notre Dame, St. Joe's, Destrehan. Am I going too fast?
No.
St. Michael, ESA, St. Amant, and Mandeville. What do all those schools have in common?
They play volleyball.
They do. That's correct. That is a correct answer, not the answer we were looking for. Those 11 high schools have players from their school that are now playing volleyball for Jeremy White at Southeastern. That's right. 22 players on Southeastern's roster. 14 are from Louisiana, representing 11 high schools. So I serve by saying props to Jeremy White, who will be joining us later in this program, for recruiting Louisiana players to show not only can he recruit locally and bring fans in the stands, but also win. They won the Southland Conference tournament last year. They went to the NCAAs, and they did it with a lot of Louisiana flavor. So props to you, Jeremy White. That's how I'm serving and starting off the show.
All right. I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
All right. Here you go. What does the LVCA stand for?
Louisiana Volleyball Coaches Association. Yes.
Very good. You win. Now, do you know when it was started?
2007.
No, early 80s. In fact, when I was playing in high school, we had the Louisiana Volleyball Coaches Association. It was instituted by a bunch of women high school coaches who wanted to improve the game of volleyball because volleyball was only in the New Orleans area / the southern area. Baton Rouge had it a little bit. Lafayette had it a little bit. But these coaches would go around the state and give free clinics to northern Louisiana, to all the areas of Louisiana that did not have volleyball, but they do way more than that. So when you hear of all these things, the LVCA All-State, you have the LHSAA All-Star. The LVCA is made up of volleyball coaches throughout the state that actually pay money to belong to the association and to most people know us because we give the All-State and we have an All-State banquet. We are the only association that does an All-State banquet where we bring all the 50 All-Staters together with their parents and have a banquet that does all kind of different things. So basically, we do the All-State banquet. We had a recruiting combine this year in which all these players came to
Dutchtown.
Yes, Dutchtown. They made a great spread, and we were able to walk around and see all these kids that were like all-stars play together and practice together. We also do the Kathy Trosclair Memorial Award, which is given to one of our highly coveted coaches that passed away, and it's given to a kid every year. We have the Hall of Fame where all these coaches that I mentioned are all part of this Hall of Fame class. And of course, we help with the All-Star match. So the LVCA is a nonprofit association, and it's run by the president is actually one of our coaches, which this year for the next 2 years is Patrick Ricks. He will He will be our president for the next 2 years, and he has to do all this stuff in a corporation with coaching volleyball. So props to the LBCA, props to Patrick Ricks, because we wouldn't have any of this without these coaches that had this mindset that we're going to help high school volleyball throughout the state and actually give back.
Love the LVCA. Tremendous serve received to get us going. Coach Terry Hebert was the outgoing president for 2 years. Patrick Ricks doing a fabulous job right off the bat. And then the head of all of the coaches at the LHSAA level, Eric Held, has also given VSN the green light to do a couple of the all-star matches at the end of the season at Nichols. So we really appreciate the LVCA and all that they do and the things that you mentioned. So Coach Jodee, props to you. And again, let's go ahead and start the show after this with the VSN Volleyball Rewind, because we've got some great highlights that we want to show you from some of the games from this past week. And I'm talking about Dominican and Newman. We'll start off with them. Dominican on Tuesday had already beaten number one Hannon, and then they take it to Newman 25-13, 25-17, 25-16. And right away, you see Cam Chatelier doing her thing, Coach.
Yeah, Camp Chatelier swinging away. You got a lot of blocks by Dominican. They're putting Newman in an out-of-system play where they're just trying to dig the ball back. But Cam is like putting the ball away for sure. But Newman is
right here. Jesse Lambert. Yep. Jesse Lambert is a sophomore. Caroline Rushing is about to get a kill here. And then later we're going to see some Caroline Bain. But I cut you off, Coach. But Newman's legit, and they're playing very well for Coach Lorzell.
Yeah, Colleen's got him going well. As you can see, the right side is hitting down the line, which is a hard shot. That was just now put away from Cam, I believe.
That was Tamia Williams who ended
Tamia Williams, yes, on a 3. They run a quicker offense than Newman for sure. But, again, great line shot. It's very hard to defend that. And if you can get your kids to hit line, it's a great advantage to you.
Watch
and then, of course, Cam.
There's Cam. Now watch this play coming up from Gabby Marcello, one of the best setters in the state. Watch her go over the shoulder. It gets rallied around a little bit, but watch right there. And it gets knocked around, but it's going to be a point for Dominican. But Gabby's playing fantastic volleyball.
Well, all that started with an out-of-system play. The libero makes a great dig, or a defense makes a great dig in the back row, and all she can do is do that with the tip. But it's a great spot. She knows the court. She realizes the awareness, and court awareness is the most important thing, especially as a setter.
Caroline Bain with the kill there. She's also, like Jesse Lambert, just a sophomore. Watch this block coming up here by Caroline Bain.
Yep, a little excited there, too. I love it.
Yeah.
Drew's up off the bench. I mean, you get Drew off the bench. That's big.
That's big. That is big. No doubt. Coach Byer getting excited as well. Here's set point. Molly Baker comes in for the kill. And again, you got a lot of role players right now. The Bailey Coretts, Molly Bakers, just getting the job done. It's not just all Cam and Gabby.
Yeah, and they're running an offense. They're not just setting outside. They're setting pin to pin. They're moving the middle of Newman, and they're moving all the middles every time they play. They just run a great offense. It's not slow. It's quick, and you have to be ready for their hitters.
No doubt about it. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next match. That's going to take us to the Notre Dame-Westminster Christian match. We're in the second set here. Westminster Christian won the first set. Here's their setter, Anna Ware, getting a kill. I know you love that.
Yes, you got to love that, especially when they give it back to the setter. That's a lot of confidence in your setter.
No doubt, no doubt. Layla Goche comes up here with the ace, but really a player that stands out right after the ace. You're going to see a kill and a block, Coach, from Bethany Stout. Real tall middle. Watch the emotion. We saw it from Caroline Bain. Watch it from Bethany Stout here in these next two plays.
Oh, yeah, I was able to see her live along with Notre Dame, and it's great. These kids are big, and they are very physical in the front row.
Yeah, and this is a team who jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and they led for a good chunk of the third set as well. But that's when Notre Dame, and the Youngs, they're going to come at you. They're going to keep fighting. 114 points into this match. Notre Dame gets its first lead. Addison Hazlitt with the kill, and it just went on from there. Notre Dame had a run, and they would not be stopped.
Yeah, Notre Dame is very they're very smart, but what they do well is they don't let defeat keep them down. They're very brain, and they're very emotionally mature. They do a lot of stuff, teamwork, and a lot of like sports psychology stuff. They actually last year had a sports psychologist that was on staff. So these kids understand that volleyball is a game of up and downs, and there's a lot of failure. But to come back from a 2-0 deficit against a very good team is an incredible feat. Just to win a game, but to go down 0-2 and then come back and win the match is a great match.
No, it was just as we promised. We saw Franny Leonard's there with the big play. Annalise Malaz, Riley Schuff comes up with the kill. Valerie Brown with the kill, and then it kind of turned into this third set. It was back and forth. We saw it with Bonifay and Chatelier earlier in the year, but here it was Brown and Stout. So here comes another big play here. Now watch, they're going to set it up. There's Brown. Now Stout's going to get into the action. She says, "Hang on for a minute," and Stout and Brown went back and forth, but eventually it was Brown who would answer. There's Stout. So she's like, "All right, now okay, we're coming back. It's 12-8." Well, guess what happens on the next one? After Stout, we replay the Stout play, but Brown came right back and got another one. And now look here. And then that kind of set it off. Hazlitt would get a kill after Brown gets the kill here. Hazlitt's kill took it to match point, and that's when their libero. I want to make sure I mention Notre Dame's libero, Ellen Cormier. She's awesome. She aced a walk-off here coming up to end it, and that's how Notre Dame won 3-2.
Yeah, and I think from the last time we seen them, we keep on talking about Notre Dame being young, and with youth comes errors. But if you can see of course, we're playing the highlights, but these are earned points. These are not somebody making a digging error. This is kids putting the ball away, blocking the ball, not hitting the ball out of bounds or in the net. And I think that's an important fact to watch as Notre Dame grows. And as we can see, they don't play an easy schedule. They play back-to-back competition, and now they're starting to get those wins. And that's usually what the Youngs do. They are very good at scheduling a hard schedule, getting the kids a lot of great play, and sometimes that could hurt your team. But I'm telling you, the sports psychology piece that Notre Dame does comes into play right here. You believe in yourself, you're going to take the lumps, but this is how you do it, and coming back from a 2-0 deficit against a great school, this is what happens. So congrats to them.
No doubt. Thursday, let's go ahead and show you Slidell North Shore. And Danny Tullis, who has this team playing so well. We finally got to see him on VSN. Addison Dowell, the sophomore lefty, Damani Lewis, one of their outsides. But Coach, Reagan Robinson, you saw this match. Reagan took over at times. I think, coming up in the highlights, she's going to get 5 points in a row. But, I think North Shore's Mallory Schaff also had a really nice game for Danny Davis. But Reagan Robinson had 21 kills.
She had 21 kills.
30 digs.
21
kills in 3 sets and 20 digs.
And what we're not saying here is the starting libero for Slidell was out. So the libero that took over came in and made some great plays, but Robinson in the back row had to take over.
Justice Kingston had 17 digs.
Kingston, yes, and she did a great job. As you can see right here, look at the covers that she covers, and then Robinson's able to put the ball away.
Ava Labatt, a key too, 45 assists, sophomore setter, getting the job done.
Yeah, and then look, Danny Davis and North Shore did a good job in the second set, taking their middles away. Barduca was not able to get the ball as many times. In fact, she only had 1 kill in the second set. So Danny made some adjustments. Schaff, unfortunately, had tweaked her knee during the Mandeville game that week, and she had to go out in the third game. So that's why the score got kind of lopsided, because they had to make adjustments. But it was a really good match. I really think the play of Kayla, and she actually is now in Max Preps. Kayla Rachel, actually their other middle, she did a great job as a role player, but her hitting percentage is .472 right now. So whenever she gets the ball, she puts the ball away. Yeah,
and you mentioned Ava Barduca. She's awesome. That's a sophomore, Coach.
Along
with Addison Dowell on the sophomore on the right side. This is a team that's going to be very formidable for Danny Tullis as we move forward.
Yeah, and look, you brought it up. They lost this week to East Ascension, but I mean, my goodness. I mean, you can't keep on again. You have those get me games. You play a big game against North Shore. You're on spotlight and you come out, down. I mean, the thing that Danny Tullis is going to work with is his kids aren't used to this type of schedule right now. And once they get used to it, there won't be letdowns.
Yeah. And we're on the Reagan Robinson show. We're going to show a couple more, and then we're going to get to the Power 25 this week. But man, she was on fire. Let's just keep this going, because there's 2 in a row. I think she had kills all the way up to 18. So she's going to get at least 2 more. Labatt Setner here coming up. Let's see. Actually, she went back row. Here's Robinson coming in at you, getting to her approach and showing all of the arsenal, coach, the touches.
Oh yeah. What a great job of her just change ups. We talk about just swinging, everybody's like wants the big kill where, you take somebody's head off, but really the game of volleyball is touch and being smart. When people are back on their heels, you go up and you just roll shot the ball in the middle, which she showed you how she does that. But I think the greatest thing, and Danny talked about this last week, is she is becoming a team player. Like, she's getting her team. Look at her. She's getting her teammates up. She's talking to them. She's making sure that everybody's okay. And that's what leaders do. And that's what the great players do.
No doubt. All right. There's another one from Barduca. Good kill there. Okay. Yep. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this week's Power 25. And with the Red Hot Sticker Classic in Baton Rouge having so many of these teams, iron versus iron, iron sharpens iron. You had Dominican there. You had Parkview Baptist, Mount Carmel, E.D. White. The list goes on and on. St. Thomas More. So a lot of these teams beat each other. And so there's some movement, but there's not a ton of movement that you might expect. So without further ado, let's bust out the Power 25. Let's start with 1 through 10. And Coach, Dominican beat number 1 Hannon from last week. They beat the number 3, 4, 6, 9, 18, and 24 teams. 7 matches, 7 wins against Power 25s. Not sure if I'll ever see another week like Dominican just pulled off. They're number 1. Hannon falls to number 2. St. Thomas More stays at 3. Parkview Baptist stays at number 4. 5 and 6 flip-flop. E.D. White now into the 5 spot. Mount Carmel drops to 6. Ditto at 7 and 8, where Slidell now is at 7, where Country Day was there a week ago. They just swapped places. Dutchtown up 2 to number 9. Ben Franklin stays at number 10. Before we get to 11 to 25, Coach, your thoughts on the top 10?
So Dominican not only beat Hannon, but they were hungry after losing to them in the tournament. They go up to Hannon and they win in 4, and they just play lights out. Their middle was able to play again. Tamia Williams was able to play again, and that helped out their middle, securing it. And Jessica is a smart coach. She moved her outside to the right side to block Sophie, and it made a big difference. St. Thomas More loses to Dominican for their first loss. I mean, we talked about undefeated last week, which was big, but it was a close match. Again, it goes down to ball control. Dominican is just phenomenal on ball control at this point. Parkview Baptist
lost twice.
They lost twice, but their losses,
the number 1 and 3. They lose to St. Thomas More, Dominican.
So I don't know if that's really losses. I know their record's 14 and 4, but what incredible. They're just running out. E.D. White, they had a loss, but again, it was another great loss. I know it's hard for a coach to talk about great losses, but there are great losses, and those are losses to top 10 teams. Mount Carmel, they struggle this week, but again, their losses are to top 10 teams. Slidell, I was able to watch them. They have all the ability to move up and actually compete with Dominican. But again, their ball control isn't as great as Dominican's. Not that it's bad, but Dominican is just unbelievable. Country Day beats Ben Franklin last week, and they also lose to John Curtis. In 5. John Curtis was down 0-2 to Country Day. Country Day was winning 2-0, and then John Curtis comes on back and wins the next 3. And again, y'all don't understand how hard that is. That's almost impossible unless your kids are mentally tough. Dutchtown, they're just rolling along. Ben Franklin, we'll see. They got a big test. They're playing Dominican on Tuesday. On this weekend, they play Parkview Baptist, they play East Ascension, and they play Hannon. So that'll be a test this week for them. But I mean, I think that's your top 10. I think the pollsters did a great job.
Yeah, and you talk about the loss. He said a rough week for Mount Carmel. They lose to basically the teams right above them. They lose to 5 Edie White, and they were up 14-11 in set 3 and lost that. And then they lost the night before to number 4 Parkview Baptist. Slidell, we don't mention it there. We said it a little bit ago during the interview. They went to a tournament, and their first match they lost to East Ascensions, just their second loss of the season. All right, 11 through 25 look like this. Turlings Catholic fell 2 spots into the 11 spot. Sam Houston up 1. We're going to hear from Coach Fontenot in just a little bit. The biggest mover, John Curtis, 17-0 coach. They are now up 6 spots into 13. Vanderbilt up 1 to 14. The first loss of the season for North Lake Christian. They go down a spot. LCA stays at 16. Haynes down 3 to 17. Pope John Paul down 1. Newman down 1. Notre Dame up 2. Fontainebleau up 3. The voters love the competition and the way they've been playing. And also up 3 is St. Michael into the 22 spot. Down 3, Catholic New Iberia, who just jumped into the poll last week. Entering the poll for the first time, 10-2 Mandeville, who picked up some big wins, 2-0. They gave North Lake Christian their only loss. They also beat North Shore, and then Calvary Baptist back into the top 25 in with the +1. So give us your thoughts and what really stands out to you when you look at 11 through 25.
All right. So first of all, John Curtis really stands out, but they have their test on Tuesday. They will play North Lake Christian at North Lake Christian. So that's going to be a great match to watch and also to see who wins that. Vanderbilt Catholic, they are just steady with Latasha over there. I mean, they're doing a great job. Haynes, it'll be great to see this weekend. The reason why they moved down is they haven't really played in any tournaments and a lot of play. They usually just play twice a week, but this weekend they're in that tournament, so we'll get to see how they go, how that fares
Baptist,
out.
like they did last year, they're going to play them. They're going to play a couple big teams this weekend.
Yes, they and I tell you, Virginia Vaucher just signed with made a verbal commitment to play sand volleyball.
UAB.
So, UAB, that's correct. And so this will be exciting. Yeah, that's a great accomplishment. The other one that stands out, I'm going to talk a little about the North Lake Christian Mandeville game, which people don't know. So I got to talk to the coach of Mandeville, who's actually on maternity leave right now. But we had a little talk, and basically Mandeville, it was a game that was to basically, it was a scholarship fund game for a parent that had passed away. So basically, Riley Edwards, who's a junior outside hitter for Mandeville, lost her mom, Amy Edwards, to lung cancer in August. And Riley transferred to Mandeville from North Lake Christian before her sophomore year. So there was a little play in this that people don't realize what happened at this game. I mean, Mandeville was pumped. It was pumped, and there was that external factor. And so they decided to use their match versus North Lake as a fundraiser to raise funds to donate to a scholarship fund for Amy's name through First Baptist Church in Covington. The girls from both teams wore ribbons that read "Live a Great Story," which was Amy's motto ever since she was diagnosed. And they raised over $2,300 for the scholarship fund. So props to Mandeville and North Lake Christian for for something awesome. Notre Dame, great job coming back. Newman is steady as can be. St. Michael. So I also talked to Rob yesterday. We had a long conversation, and Rob Smith does a great job at St. Michael's. For those that don't know, he's very young, although he has 2 seniors, Audrey Domingue, which is his middle, and Mary Catherine Covington, which is his setter. They run a 6'2", that are kind of like, the anchors of the team. But he's playing all sophomores and freshmen. They beat Dutchtown and they beat EA. So his 4 losses are to I think power 10s, okay, not power 25. So St. Michael is rolling along, and I know he's not under the radar anymore, which I'm most probably he wishes he was. But he has a balanced attack. He has this little freshman, Skylar Towner, and he said Remember that name, okay? She's a 9th grade middle, and she's just killing it right now. So congrats to Rob, just for, building up. And I mean, what a division. They're in the same district as Parkview Baptist. It just doesn't get any easier for Rob.
Not at all. Not at all. So I'll tell you what, there you have it. The Power 25 heading into the week 5 of the schedule. So a lot going on, but also time for us to take a break because we got to get to the week that's coming up. We're going to look at the schedule. Coach Jodee, we got over 20 matches. The VSN is live streaming thanks to 15 of which are coming. Is it 17? 17 matches
17
in Homa
there.
on Friday and Saturday at used to be the Lady Tiger Classic from Terrebonne. Now Coach Craig Hamner is at Covenant Christian. So it's the CCA tournament. We're going to tell you the games that we're going to be live streaming there, as well as the rest of the week. And we'll have interviews. Rene Fontenot joins us, as does Reece Aultman, when VSN Volleyball Weekly continues.
At Harvey Gulf International Marine, we believe in being the best, in challenging the mundane, and in continually evolving as masters of our craft. We are reliable, forward-thinking, customer-focused, and committed to protecting the environment and the health and safety of the lives that we impact. At Harvey Gulf, we're committed to our people, our environment, and our performance. We're committed to unsurpassed excellence.
My mother was a school teacher. My dad, a small-town architect. Times were tough, but we had faith and we had each other. Digging ditches in a sugarcane field, serving our country, working nights as an officer, raising a family. I have walked in the very shoes of the people who struggle way more than they should in a state as blessed as this one. We can have a state government that fixes problems and delivers solutions.
Jeff Landry, Governor.
Varsity Sports Now would like to thank the Friends of VSN Volleyball, Bella Zoya Properties, and the Bernadas family, wishing former Cub Sarah Bernadas the best of luck at TCU this year. White Sands Beach Volleyball Complex and Seegers Sandbar, Crew Volleyball Club, Louisiana South Volleyball Club, the grandparents of Mount Carmel setter Emma Richey, Jim and Terry Lynn, wishing number 4 the best of luck this season. VSN Volleyball Weekly rolls on. Eric Richey, Jodee Pulizzano. Glad you're watching. Still a lot to get to and a lot to chew from this week's schedule of VSN Volleyball matches. Let's get right to it. A couple on Tuesday, some big-time matches. Mount Carmel at Hahnville in the River Parishes. Mandy LaBeouf's team with Mariah Mott on the outside. Always dangerous. Very good team. That's going to be great. Coach, you talked about Ben Franklin and Dominican on Tuesday, and we also, of course, from the Cougar Sports Network, they don't have announcers for those games, but we'll still be able to watch ESA and St. Thomas More. What a Tuesday just to kick us off.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be a great matches that day. It'll be interesting. Ben Franklin at Dominican. I think that Ben Franklin is going to put up some big blocks, and I think that Dominican is not going to be ready for that. So hopefully that.
Yep. On Wednesday and Thursday, we'll just combine them. We're going to see Country Day, Coach, back to back. Wednesday and Thursday, we talked a lot about Mandeville peaking right now, 10-2, making it into the Power 25. Well, guess what? They're going to be at Mount Carmel. We'll get tested on Thursday. And St. Thomas More, of course, at Sam Houston. And that is going to be one we're going to talk to Coach Rene in just a bit. And then, Coach, look at this. Friday and Saturday, I don't even know how many matches there are. I believe there's 17 over the 2-day span at the Homa Terrebonne Parish Civic Center, where we're going to do the CCA tournament. And I'm so glad we are. We're going to set up shop on one court, court 3, and look at all those matches they're going to bring to us at VSN. Are you kidding me? These teams we've been talking about, we've never seen. I can't wait to see Central Private. East Ascension off a win against Slidell. There's so many teams we've never seen. We get to see for the first time. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I think this is great. Craig does a great job over there, but I think for him to give all these teams a little airtime is so great of him. I mean, that's what we're in this for, for kids to get exposure. And you see all the different teams that we'll see and all the different kids. So if you know anybody, tell them to tune on in to, get a subscription so that they can watch all these great matches. I mean, we've been talking about all these teams, Haynes, especially, Patrick Taylor. I mean, Patrick Taylor the other day had a big win, I think, against Belle Chase, Central Private, Chalmette. I mean, Chalmette has some bangers over there. They're coached by Mallory McGinnis. And I think it's this Cabrini, Central Catholic. I mean, these teams are unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We're good to see Destrehan as well as Chappelle for the first time. We haven't seen Chappelle, and Tyler Dixon does a great job of coaching on the club scene. He's now the head coach at St. James, so we'll see him play the host school, Covenant Christian, Iota, Catholic New Iberia. It'll be our first time seeing Coach Gary Westcott's team, who did so well in the Catholic League tournament at Sacred Heart and at Dominican. Really can't wait to see his team on VSN. We get to call a match there. So some unbelievable volleyball headed to VSN. One of those big games on the VSN volleyball schedule this week is indeed over to the west side, and that's where we bring in our next guest, Sam Houston head coach Rene Fontenot. So happy to have you on the show, Coach. Thanks for being here. An 18-3 season, 6 wins last week. Man, you guys are playing great.
Yes, the girls are healthy and doing well. We've made some adjustments in our lineup, so last week was a good week. And
So,
we were
Coach,
able to go and see Ruston. So.
Wow.
We haven't been able to go. We haven't gone up north before. Not really.
Well, what was it like? I know you went 5-0 in the Ruston tournament.
It was good. It was nice to see some different people, to see how the north side is developing, because I don't always see all of those teams. And that complex is great. It's a nice venue.
I've heard great reviews about the Ruston tournament this weekend. I talked to a few other coaches. So,
Yeah.
Coach, this is your 30 what year?
It's my 32nd year.
32nd year, and we first met it was probably 30 years ago at the Lafayette tournament when your Broncos beat the Ben Franklin Falcons. And I remember telling my kids, who is Sam Houston? So, Coach, you've been in the community for I don't know how long. All right. I mean, you've stayed at Sam Houston, which is an unbelievable feat, because most coaches, we stay 10 years and we move on over to another school. But you're a community girl. You actually graduated from Sam Houston?
No, from Berwick.
Berwick, but you're around
Berwick.
that area, right? Around that
Yeah.
area. So my question is, what makes this team special this year than different years?
This team is unique because for the first time in my career, I have parents, families, kids that bought in to playing club, and they left Lake Charles to develop. And it's the core group of my lineup this year. So I'm grateful because it's such a big commitment. It's not even just the local Cajun Elite. They went into Lafayette Cajun Elite. So that has given them a lot of the game experience and playtime that we've been lacking.
Coach, we're very fortunate this year to have you as one of our VSN affiliates. We're doing Sam Houston Volleyball live streaming 3 matches this year. Of course, the one we talked about this coming Thursday with St. Thomas More that Coach Jodee, of course, will be at. We're also going to see you this weekend at the CCA tournament in Houma, Louisiana, where we saw you last year. We'll also be there October 12th against Southside. So excited about it. We've got video from the September 5th game against Westlake that we want to roll and just talk about some of the names of the players that have led your team. And you talked about being so special, and teams, players like Kat Manuel and Aubrey Poche and Bailey Folks doing such a good job this year. Salem Arsenault, Kaylin Willis. Tell us about these players that have done so well for you this year.
Well, we have pretty much a well-balanced group in that Kat Manuel does a phenomenal job setting. We played around with 5-1, 6-2, and a variation of both. And I just ultimately have put the ball in her hands because she's that capable. And Aubrey Poche is a sophomore, so she's very young, very dynamic. She does well on all aspects, and she can set as well. our seniors, where it's Addie Melindy and Mallory Wills and Kat Manuel. It's such a good group. Anna Claire Norris, they're good kids. They know each other well. And then you add in there Ava Henry, who's a junior and is a dynamic player herself. Whereas, my libero sometimes takes her own back row, but she's capable of playing back row herself. So it's a nice group where I have some ability to make changes and it doesn't disrupt our success. So that's nice.
Yeah, Coach, you talked a lot about role players, sometimes we don't think of how important those kids are on the bench that actually support. And that's what makes the teams or the kids that just buy in and are ready to go in at any time and just make a difference.
Definitely.
And it sounds like you have like a bunch of those kids on the side.
Yeah, they're great kids. So some of those kids played quite a bit this past week, and it was nice to celebrate them. Like we talk a lot about, of course, the word culture and, just living in the moment, like enjoying your success and also the ability to facilitate somebody else's success because they're close knit.
Coach, parlaying the wins and the great success that you have this season so far, and obviously we're really just getting into the October portion of the schedule coming up next week, and then November. What do you think will be the key for your team to make that deep run at the Cajun Dome this year and take on the likes of the Dominicans and the Mount Carmels and fight for where you want to be, which is the top of the mountain, and every coach wants to be a state champion?
Right. I think it's going to be, we have to be able to do some good things this week. This week is a good test because we have such strong teams on our, on the docket this week with STM and Parkview Baptist again. Ava Henry had dislocated her finger in the Dutchtown tournament, so that affected our lineup there. But carrying forward just some composure for kids that we don't get to see that caliber of ball every week, week in and week out. So are we able to bring that into the latter part of our season where we can be successful and beat those teams that are great programs and they're well coached?
So how do you preach to the kids consistency? Like, what are you doing at practice? You doing anything different at practice to make that?
Trying to recreate pressure situations and, wash drills where there's, you don't have the ability to terminate the ball or run a good offense off of serve receive, then there's consequences, and those consequences equate to losses. How many losses can we take before that negatively affects us and our ability to stay high in the power rankings? And so really trying to be comfortable in pressure situations so that isn't out of the norm. Like y'all coming in to commentate and be at our games, that's a big deal. Like we've never had that before, and the kids and parents absolutely love that in Homa. So when we talked about, gosh, that would be great to have that kind of experience in our home, because there's just kind of a drop off in volleyball over here. So we have to travel. Like this weekend will be the 4th tournament where we're staying in a hotel and we travel and they miss school. So hopefully all that prepares them well for getting through district.
Yep.
And, I enjoy district because I love having a lot of pride for your school and what district means. Like being an old school coach, that's a real deal. Like you still are going after a district title.
No doubt about it. And when you talk about that, when you look back, as Coach Jodee said, over 3 decades at Sam Houston in coaching, what is the pride factor when you think about maybe not necessarily a big moment on the court or a win? What do you take pride in as being a head coach? What do you like the most about what you've been able to accomplish in your years as a great volleyball coach?
I would have to say my greatest joy is seeing the girls that came through the program be incredible women in whatever they choose to do, whether they've gone on to play volleyball, that they're good mothers, they're good employees or business owners, they're happy, successful, they have families. That is where I absolutely love having been here all this time and see so many people that, they became so impactful in their own lives and in our community. That would be it in a nutshell. And volleyball
Awesome.
was the conduit.
That's
Well,
great.
Coach, I respect you. I respect what you've done over there at Sam Houston. It's amazing the competitive teams. Even though sometimes we all want a state championship, but what you've done for those kids in that community is unbelievable. And I'm excited to come up there on Thursday to cover the game. And hopefully, I do a great job for you, Coach.
You will. You will. You don't know how to do anything else.
I know.
It's great stuff. Well, listen, Coach, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure not only having you on the show with your bud, Coach Jodee, but for us to be able to broadcast your games and you putting the faith into VSN and becoming part of our family, that means a lot to us as well. That's a big deal, especially in an area where there's not a lot of VSN presence. So for you and Ms. Shannon to put your faith in us means a lot to us. So we take great pride in bringing you a great product, and we're going to do that Thursday. We're bringing you the A team with Coach Jodee, first of all. So you got that. And you got Miss Pam and her crew will do a great job as well. And then we'll see you again October 12th at Southside. And I can't wait to see you in Oma this weekend because Coach Chip Didier and I will be there, for 2 days. And Coach Jodee's going to come and, we're going to pass the baton midway Saturday. So we'll see you soon. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank y'all so much because this makes volleyball. This is helping grow it.
It definitely is
growing the sport.
The biggest thing that got me super excited about Louisiana volleyball was that there was volleyball up in North Louisiana, which I feel like people have been working on for the last 40 years to make happen. And so seeing that and seeing the schools from North Louisiana at our team camp this past summer was huge.
LSU coach Tanya Johnson appearing on a VSN volleyball podcast a year ago, talking about being excited about quality volleyball in North Louisiana. And nobody knows that better than our next guest. He's Reece Aultman from 2D Volleyball. He is located up north. He reps up north. He covers the players all over the state with 2D Volleyball. Reece, welcome back to the program. So glad to have you on. First of all, tell me about the teams up north. I mean, I know there's 3 teams that have been on our radar big time, but, tell us about the overall play, I guess, in volleyball in North Louisiana.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Eric. Of course, everyone knows the Natchitoches, Rushton, and Calvary of the state. They're the 3 teams primed to make a playoff run, but this is my 3rd year ref in volleyball in the state, and seeing from 2020 to now, the talent level is through the roof now of just where we were and how it is going. I would say like the teams like Halton has gotten better. West Washitaw's gotten better. Your airlines are always going to be good consistently. But what's really impressed me now is teams that started out 2-3 years ago are consistently getting better. The talent's consistently getting better. They're able to hang with some of the teams down south. I had Airline versus St. Michael's this past weekend. And St. Michael's won 2-0, but the scores were 25-22. Bird took Sulphur to 3 sets. Just the overall talent and the girls and the excitement for volleyball is growing in North Louisiana, which is always a positive thing to see.
So what has been the change you think that has caused the development of North Louisiana?
I would say it's kind of twofold. One, there's more opportunities for girls to play now. One thing that's always been lacking is middle school volleyball. So girls first get exposed to volleyball once they reach freshman, sophomore year of high school. So girls are starting at a younger age earlier, which also goes into club. More club teams are offering those younger age groups. Then also coaching too. A lot of coaches were first just kind of volunteers, helped it out, but now a lot of coaches see that there's more strategy, and they're kind of learning the game more. And that also goes with more volleyball-minded coaches coming in as well. Northwood Shreveport, which is one of the teams that's made the biggest jump, just hired a former college player from the Dallas area to coach their team, and they're one of the best teams in Shreveport. And then same with West Washita. Their coach played in college, and now that she's built that program the past 2 or 3 years, they've become one of the premier teams in the North Louisiana area.
Reece, if you could break down some of the teams for us, that the three that you said that, again, has been on our radar. Natchitoches Central 14-3, Parkview or Calvary Baptist 12-4, and Ruston. I know they didn't fare as well as they wanted to in their tournament, but they have 11 wins on the season as well. Tell us about these teams and some of the players that we should really be following up there.
Natchitoches, in my opinion, is a team that has the chance to make the biggest run. They just missed it last year, the state tournament last year. They were number 8 overall seed last year, lost to Chappelle in the second round. But they're a very upper class. They're led by senior Tulane commit, Laura Cole. She's one of their middles. That's just she leads that team. And then their setters and their back row are junior, seniors. They have a lot of experience playing both high-level volleyball games and at the club level too. They have a big district matchup tomorrow against Ruston. That's probably one of the best North Louisiana games you could see in the area. Ruston has had an up-and-down year. They lost their starting setter, their starting outside, and their starting libero last year. So trying to find some key pieces to fill in that role has been up and down all year. They didn't fare as well last weekend in their home tournament, but they've had some great success down in Baton Rouge. And then Calvary, they're very young. Most of their team are sophomores and juniors. And they had a really good season last year. They lost out early, but they're led by their outside Kia Kazi. She's a Washita Baptist commit, and she's one of the best players in the entire state.
Well, Reece, I was able to talk to the Ruston coach actually yesterday, and she told me, they had a rough time at the tournament, meaning like losses, but she believes in her mind they were wins. They competed very well with a lot of the competition, even though they didn't get the wins. And she was talking about how she thinks this has prepared her for Tuesday. Do you think, is it going to go down to the wire? Who has the advantage on Tuesday?
I would say Ruston's best prepared to play in a match. A lot of their games in the Ruston tournament were close 25-20s, 25-23 type sets. I think what comes down to it is both teams serve receive in that aspect. Ruston kind of struggled this past weekend on that end, but whenever Ruston's in system, they're hard to stop. But then also it goes along with Natchitoches. Their team is just built to play tough games, and it's really hard to play in that Natchitoches gym. It's small, it's tight, and they bring a lot of fans. So if Ruston can weather the storm, but if Natchitoches can play how they've been playing all year, I think I would say it always goes 5 sets every single year. So I think it should be a really good matchup.
Reece, we've been a big fan of your work because you're doing very similar to what Coach Jodee and I take a passion in. Is no longer is it just this team has a great middle. Hey, he's a great setter for that team over there. Hey, great right side. You're putting names and video to these players. We're spotlighting these players. We're getting to know the names. And you and 2D Volleyball have done such a fabulous job. Every week I see, several different players that you're highlighting with their video and, giving them props. Tell us a little bit about 2D Volleyball here on the way out and how people can follow you. And more importantly, just follow these Louisiana players in high school volleyball, really all over the South.
Yeah, so the new wave and age of getting recruited nowadays is through social media. It's really important for girls to brand themselves so they can market the college coaches. Every college program only has 2 or 3 coaches, and they can only be in so many places and so many times. And so what we built at 2D Volleyball is, hey, we want to put names to faces, faces to names, and show these and spotlight these girls. We want to make sure these girls get extra exposure to college coaches. And kind of what that ties along to is we host club volleyball tournaments in Louisiana. We're hosting 10 tournaments all across the state in 2024, 10 through 18U age groups. And along with that is at every court that we have, we'll be spotlighting those girls as well. So maybe they don't get seen during the high school season, but when they have a really good club season playing for their club teams, they know that they'll be able to get that social media exposure as well and be seen by college coaches.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time. You're doing a fantastic job highlighting these players and teams. Continued success. Continue doing what you're doing. I know we'll have you back on the show as well. We appreciate your help also in the Power 25 and getting a good eye of those teams up north for us. Thank you so much, Reece.
Thanks, Reece.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for all y'all do too.
You got it. All right. Time for us to take a break here on VSN Volleyball Weekly. When Coach Jodee and I return, a college segment. We're shining the spotlight on a Louisiana college volleyball team, and we'll tell you, yes, it's Jeremy White in Southeastern on the other side of this break.
Since 2000, Bayou Granite has grown to be Southeast Louisiana's largest fabricator of stone countertops. From precise laser measurements to state-of-the-art water jet and CNC machines, we can handle your kitchen and bath needs as well as any commercial projects. Let our expert staff design and customize the right material for your home or business. Stop by our new state-of-the-art fabrication facility and showroom today at 9622 East Main Street or call us at 985-637-4911. And don't forget to like us on Facebook.
At Harvey Gulf International Marine, we believe in being the best, in challenging the mundane, and in continually evolving as masters of our craft. We are reliable, forward-thinking, customer-focused, and committed to protecting the environment and the health and safety of the lives that we impact. At Harvey Gulf, we're committed to our people, our environment, and our performance. We're committed to unsurpassed excellence.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
Welcome back to VSN Volleyball Weekly. Eric, Richey, Jodee, Pulizzano. And for the first time, Coach Jodee, we're going to do some college volleyball. Is that nice? A college segment each week on this show. We'll shine the spotlight this week on Southeastern. And for that, we head to Hammond and join the man, Jeremy White, whose team has been on fire right now. Coach Jeremy, welcome to the program. Really, for the third time now, you've been on a VSN Volleyball podcast, setting records all the time. You're a trendsetter.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's good to be back.
Coach, tell me how's it going right now? I mean, I know you're 11-4, 2-1 in the conference, but what's the reason for all this success? I mean, you had great success winning the Southland last year, but tell me about this year's team.
We're very versatile. We're in a situation this year I think is probably the best group we've ever had, just in regards to we have athletes that can play everywhere. We can score at every position, and then our culture's in such a great place.
Coach, you got 14 local kids, 14. And I know personally a few of them, Ainsley Tullis, you got Cicely Hidalgo. I mean, I love the fact that you recruit local and you keep our community together. And I love it. I mean, 11-4, you play my alma mater tomorrow, UNO at Southeastern. I mean, hopefully people come out and watch that.
I hope so as well. I think the piece we always wanted to do coming in was making sure that we took care of recruiting Louisiana first, making that our priority, and then going outside of that when we couldn't find exactly what we needed in state. And I think it's been a huge success. It fills up the bleachers, of course, for home games. It makes the University Center a fun place to play. And then it's nice to see Louisiana athletes getting some love and going out and playing and competing at a high level.
Coach, you just won your 5th consecutive game. You just beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi to wrap up about a month road trip. But the scores of that game, 29-27, 25-23, 25-21. You called this afterwards maybe your best team win of the season. And some of those players that Coach Jodee just alluded to, Cicely Hidalgo, 14 kills, 11 digs, hit over 400%. Rachel Hartman from Pope John, she had 8 kills, hit over 300. Ainsley had 22 digs. Gracie Duplasham, 35 assists. I mean, the beat goes on and on. Tell me about this and why this was your best team win.
I thought it was just because Corpus plays a type of volleyball that is really fast-paced. They're trying to create a lot of chaos on the court. And so it requires you to really be honed in. And on really every facet. There's a lot of plays that happen in there. I remember one in particular, Jackie Arrington, our middle. She doesn't block on the ball. It happens kind of quick, but she just throws a hand up, makes a play off of that. We end up scoring on a kind of an on-2 play, little beach action there. But and so I think that piece was huge. Just everybody kind of doing their job, staying in the match, serving really tough. But then also I think, Corpus definitely made it a point to try to take away one of our outside hitters, Caitlin Newsom, and it was pretty apparent. And it was just nice to see other athletes step up. We're in a position where you can take one person away, but we still have 5 other kids that can swing it and score it, and we did a great job of that. And that's why I felt like it was a big piece. And then Tully had probably her best match of the year. That's probably the biggest piece of it. I mean, we passed so well. I mean, she passed like a 2-3, I know, over for the match. We passed like almost a 2-4. And then we just scored it at different positions. I mean, Kay had 19 kills on Thursday. We turned around, Sis has 14. Jackie had a pretty decent game. She still had 6 and some blocks. And then, of course, Rachel had her 8 as well. So,
well, Coach, I love the fact that you talk about culture. As a high school coach, you take the kids that you have to create a great culture for them. And then hopefully, you're able to get those wins. But I mean, I look on your roster and I mean, the kids you have are winners. Like, they are kids that have come up through volleyball since they've been little and just put it out there. Who right now is impressing you with just maybe their role play? Maybe not the big bangers, but they're just, I mean, without them, you wouldn't be where you are.
I think kids you got to look at Alexis Lagarbo. I mean, that kid, she just spits rainbows and sunshine every single day of the week. And is a big block in practice, does a job in practice, comes in and does it, kind of playing in this kind of role player, situational 6-2 situation for us, and just does her a great job. Lily Morgan, kid who was an MVP at the state tournament, turns around, comes here, and is kind of, biding her time situation, but it's always been such a great, just teammate the entire time, one of the leaders on our bench on the sidelines during matches, and I mean, pretty much horse every single game. You'd have thought she played the dang thing. And so I think kids like that really make it better. I mean, when you're in a situation where, we've got a pretty veteran roster that's on the court, most of the time. We've got those winter athletes, but then those pieces that are a part of coming in and competing every single day really well in practice, coming in and challenging us every single day, making that A squad better, and it really kind of be in a situation where we feel pretty interchangeable. We put a lot of kids in this year already, and they've gone out and had success, and we're just hoping to keep that narrative going.
Coach, I also love the fact, sorry, Eric, but I love the fact that you're a high school coach. That's what you started as, and then you move up. You were at Barb, did a great job over there, and then just move up and make us a better volleyball program, Louisiana-wise. And, Coach, I can't say props to you. Big time. You are the man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Coach, obviously we knew the success of this program that you've built, what you did last year, winning the Southland Conference tournament, making it to the NCAAs, going up to Minnesota, representing so well. But on September 10th of this year, I think the volleyball world as a whole took note when you went to Baton Rouge and beat LSU 3-1. Afterwards, you called it a program-defining win, maybe the greatest team win of your coaching career. Take us back to that win against LSU, and what was the difference that night in Baton Rouge?
I think our kids just played some inspired volleyball. I think we knew what we were capable of doing. I think we saw a rather similar blocking situation against Texas State, and just felt we had some of the same looks available to us against LSU. And I think our kids just stuck to they stepped up to the challenge. But we had backup setters playing. Gracie was out at the time, so she didn't get to play in the match, and they did a great job, and our kids just stayed engaged. We did a better and better job. Our block got better throughout the match. I really kind of took over in the fourth set. And at no point in time did we ever back down. And I think that was the biggest piece. I think a lot of the times when you go into those games, you have to play really, really, really well in every single facet in order to take down a team that's that physical. And our kids just, like I said, they stepped up to the challenge and played a great team volleyball game. We did a lot of good things in that match. We just stayed inspired. And then, watching them get so excited for each other. Again, I talk culture because I think culture is the truth. When we're great teammates, we play the way we can and play that really fast-paced, aggressive style, then, we can be just about anybody in the country. And I feel like 100% that is our mindset every single time we go out and play volleyball now.
That's, to beat LSU, when I was in college, that was our goal, to beat LSU. I mean, LSU is the cream of the crop, the SEC and all like that. But, I'm watching your replays, and what your kids have is grit. They dig everything. They're not scared. Usually when the Louisiana teams go up and play LSU, I mean, they're kind of scared because they wanted to be on that team. They wanted to be recruited by LSU. And look, you turning things around, Coach. People are going to want to come to Southeastern. And I think, you say it, team culture. Why do you think your team culture has changed?
Well, I think it starts with bringing in the right kind of athletes, the kids who have gone out and won, but also that value that kind of atmosphere. I mean, I think there's a lot of the times you can get a great athlete that really thinks it's this solo project or whatever, and it's not. It's a team game. It's probably, to me, it's the most – I mean, like the only other comparison team game I can feel like is going to be football, just because of how many people have to do the right thing for things to be successful. And I feel like we've done that. We've gone out and found winner athletes who want to be a part of a culture, who don't care who scores – that next play. They just care about winning the volleyball match. And also on top of that, I don't know that we walked into that gym going, it's LSU. I think we walked into that match feeling like we were on an equal playing field, that we were just as good. And it showed. I mean, we played with that level of confidence. We've pushed the words confident, composure all year long. We felt like last year that was something that kind of came back to haunt us a little bit in certain matches. And they were continuing to work on those things. And we didn't have we lost a little bit of it against Northwestern, which kind of put us in that 5-setter loss situation. But in matches like LSU, we really kept it going, and I think we added it this weekend as well with that Corpus match.
Coach, just before we brought you on, you told us that you had just come from beach volleyball practice, and obviously you started the program here. You were the head coach, but you've relinquished that head coaching duty now to your assistant in indoor. Colin Wilson, who comes to Southeastern from Coastal Carolina, took over the program in the beach last year. Man, I see him recruiting. I see him all over the place. What has Colin meant to this program? And tell us a little bit about where you guys are with the beach program.
I think Colin's been huge. I mean, he's probably one of the, if not the most hardworking recruiter in beach volleyball, really. I mean, that was a well-known fact that he would go out and recruit on his own money a lot of the time. He was out every weekend. You go to an event, somebody's like, hey, who's this kid? Go ask Colin. Colin knows every kid known to man. I've even given him like Instagram. Like somebody be like posting the winners of a tournament. He's like, I know that this is that kid and this kid, and she's going here and there. And I'm like, man, it took all the way down to the 12-year-olds before he finally figured out he didn't know who they were. So I think that's a huge piece of it. And then, he's such a hard worker. Both of my new assistants they do a great job of taking a lot off my plate, allowing me to be more of a volleyball coach and kind of relinquish some of those duties that we've had in the past. And more than anything, let me spend a little more time with my family, which is something I really was after. 5 years into this and almost 20 years into coaching, and I feel like it's time for me to have a little bit of time to spend with them. And of course, we want to go, kick people's behind or whatever on the volleyball court. And it's a long season, but man, that little bit of time, like walking in yesterday, we had some stuff to get done in the office, and they took care of it and allowed me to just go have a Sunday with my family. That's a huge piece.
Jeremy, the one other question I have is, so your defense I see is very extraordinary. And, the kids that you have, I talked about grit before, and, I'm a defensive minded coach. What do you do in practice that's different now? I mean, do you do a lot of hitting you personally, or what do you do to improve their defense and their tenacity, let's say?
Well, I think it starts with, we kind of start practice off every day in some kind of a competitive situation that has more of a defensive focus. We're challenging our athletes to either pursue a ball a specific way in a 4-on-4 type drill, where it's always competitive as well. And so it's not necessarily just the same ball over and over again. Not that we don't train specific skills, but we try to put them in as many positions where they have to react to a real live play. We'll do some 5-on-5 out of system type stuff that allows us to do those things. And then really, I think after that, we play a ton. We put ourselves in tough situations in regards to particular 6-on-6 stuff we work on in practice. And we challenge both our attackers and our defense to handle, situations where they do know what's coming. Maybe the defense knows it's going to the outside, and we're challenging our outsides to try to beat that. And when our outsides do, it makes our defense better. And then, shouldn't be looking over to the side, but I see that going off.
It's okay. It's okay. This is our second show together, so we're learning as we go. We forgot the guests can read the answers.
Oh, I didn't know you could read it, man. I'm sorry there. Sorry, I didn't mean to buck you up anymore.
It's all good. But then, like, on top of that, we also put ourselves in situations where, we're challenging our attackers with defense as well. And so, and then the big thing, I think, and my deal is this, is defense is a selfless act. And it is, I'm going to give myself up a lot of the time. Same thing in service, even on a good serve. I'm going to give myself up for the betterment of my team. It's the same thing in coverage. And it's just stuff that we've made a major piece of what we value in practice and in matches and stuff. And we're not the most physical team in the world. We're getting bigger and faster and stronger and whatever else you want to talk about. But we're just really good at playing volleyball. So let's play to our strength. Let's make things really difficult on the other team to score points, frustrate them. I think that helps against really big teams. They think they can just put it away, and you can't put it away against us very easily. So it ends up leading to a lot of errors. And it's just it's a priority every day in practice, no matter what drill we're doing. It might be a serve receive drill, but there's going to be a defensive element to it as well. So
You can tell, Coach. You can definitely tell.
Hey, this week, Coach, home opener on Tuesday, home Southland Conference opener. I should correct myself there. You take on Jodee's old school UNO Privateers Indoor, having a tough season to start us off. Tell me about that matchup. And then Thursday you go on the road, but not too far. You take Nichols. Southland Conference opponents Tuesday and Thursday kind of set us up and kind of get those fans out there too, and why they should be out there to come up to Hammond on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think what people forget sometimes is Southland play, or just conference play in general, regardless of where you are, like those are teams that have seen you over and over again. So it doesn't matter what kind of season somebody's having. We played Northwestern 2 weeks ago, and you'd have looked at their record and thought that, oh yeah, this is going to be an easy match. And I knew it wasn't going to be an easy match. I know exactly what kind of a job Sean does in preparing his teams. I know the same thing's going to happen with Ashley and Nichols and everyone else throughout the week. And I think that's just going to be a piece that we have to recognize every single week, that there is no taking anybody lightly. It is going to be a tough match regardless. We're getting everybody's best this year because we're kind of in that weird place where it's like, yeah, we won the league last year. Won the conference tournament, I should say, last year. We were in the NCAAs, but we haven't just put ourselves in that position yet where there's so much tradition that we just walk into the gym and get an auto win like some teams can pull off, when it's just like Jodee was saying, everybody thinks, oh my God, we're going to play LSU this week, so it's going to be really difficult. We're not in that position. We've got to go compete hard every single match and take nobody lightly. As far as getting fans out, I mean, look, you're talking about what we feel like right now is the best volleyball team in Louisiana. So we playing at home in the University Center on Tuesday and Saturday, and then we're going to be out in Thibodeau, so we'll be in that area of the states on Thursday, and I think it's a big piece. I know on Thursday we're bussing students out to the Nichols match. I know that's something that the athletic department's done for us this year, and I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. You're going to get to see great volleyball. I mean, Saturday nobody lost. Everybody got their money's worth in that Corpus match. It was a great job by both teams, and I think we're going to get more of that this week.
Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck. I know we'll have you on again before the season's out, but from Coach Jodee and I, thanks so much for all that you do, as what Jodee said in the onset about recruiting Louisiana and all those players from around the state, making up not only your roster, but winning as well and showing the country that Louisiana volleyball is legit and something that you know firsthand, and we certainly appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach, for your time.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. Varsity Sports Now would like to thank the Friends of VSN Volleyball, Bella Zoya Properties, and the Bernatus family, wishing former Cub Sarah Bernatus the best of luck at TCU this year. White Sands Beach Volleyball Complex and Seegers Sandbar, Crew Volleyball Club, Louisiana South Volleyball Club, the grandparents of Mount Carmel setter Emma Richey, Jim and Terry Lynn, wishing number 4 the best of luck this season.
Before planning the big trip, you were limping thanks to a bad knee. Then you heard about Mako robotic-assisted knee replacement. It starts with a CT scan to pinpoint the problem that becomes a personalized 3D plan to guide your doctor during surgery. Mako can help lead to better outcomes, like less pain and shorter recovery times. The lifetime of a knee implant is limited, and revision surgery may be required. Individual results and recovery times vary. Risks of surgery include pain, infection, heart attack, stroke, death, and other serious risks. Ask your doctor for important safety information. To find a doctor who uses Mako, visit makocan.com.
Elevate your program's fundraising this season with Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is the premier online fundraising platform for organizations of all sizes using innovative technology to create the easiest and most efficient system available. Raise more money in less time with a local fundraising coach who works with you every step of the way to customize the ideal fundraiser for your program. To find out more, visit verticalraise.com.
We're down to the last segment of VSN Volleyball Weekly, and that means one thing. One last take. Jodee Pulizzano, you go first. What's your one last take?
Well, I'd like to go over stats again because, I'm a statistics junkie. But our leaders in max preps right now, and of course, I got to see them play. So it's great that I was able to actually see this. But in hitting percentage, which if you don't know what hitting percentage is, it's basically the amount of attempts you have, and you take the kills minus the errors and you divide it together and you get this percentage. So we have 4 kids right now in Louisiana that are over 430 hitting percentage, which is incredible. So you got Kayla Rachel and Ava Berduca. They're both from Slidell. Kayla Rachel is hitting a 472, the senior, and the sophomore Ava Berduca is hitting a 451, which is incredible. And of course, you got the big lefty from Franklin, Aubrey Muirhead, hitting a 443. And then you have Madison Broussard from Catholic High New Iberia hitting a 433. In kills, we have Reagan Robinson, which you got to see, has 262 kills already for the season. You have Cameron Chatelier from Dominican, who has 218. You have Nadia Dunham with 190 kills, and you have Ava Berduca with 161 kills. And then we went to aces this time. So an ace is when you serve the ball over the net and the setter is unable to get to the second ball and the other team scores a point. So it could hit the ground, but it could be a shank. A shank is when the ball is flying in any direction and nobody can get to the second hit. So aces, we have Hannah O'Banion and Molly Dranette. Both from Alexandria High School. Hannah has 63 and Molly has 42. Emily Pierce from CBA Shreveport has 41. And then from St. Martin's locally, you have Gabby Rubin with 40. And let's not forget, Max Prep's Player of the Week this week was from Lafayette Christian Academy with 130 assists, 40 digs, and 7 aces. And one more last take. We still have 2 undefeated. Sydney Williams from Lafayette Christian. Yep. She's a junior. She's the setter. But one more thing that we didn't talk about, there's 2 undefeated teams still in Louisiana. 2. You still got John Curtis at 17-0, and they play North Lake Christian tomorrow at North Lake Christian. Big test right there, although they passed the test last week by beating Country Day. So let's see if that holds this week. And then you got McDonough 35. Go Ron Eagles. They are 11-0 right now. This week they don't have many tests, but next week they're going to have a few tests. So congratulations to both of those teams and coaches. We're almost into October and they haven't lost a game.
That's 1.5 last takes. I like it. I like the stats, and I like the undefeated teams too. That's very good, though. And they were highlighting these players. I like it. All right. Richie's last take is going to be to the parents. When you're watching a volleyball game, all right, everybody cheers a little different. You root for things. You should always root for your team to do well. When I clap, when I'm not broadcasting, I'm actually just wearing a Mount Carmel shirt and being a dad, I clap when Mount Carmel does something good, it's like a kill or a great defensive play. Unbelievable. I don't clap when a player on the other team hits the ball in the net. That's not something to clap about because most of the people in the stands, right, outside of the students, are parents or family members. So that's somebody's kid that just hit the ball in the net. I don't clap for that. I clap when our team does something good. Now, granted, if it's at the end of a set or end of the match and it's the final point, you're going to clap regardless. But just keep that in mind. Clap for when your players do well. And the last one is, in these tournaments, it's almost like club volleyball where all the fans are almost kind of packed together for both teams, which sometimes leads to some contentious moments. So I understand when a student section tries to ice a server. When the ball's up in the air, they're going to say scream, and I get that. That's part of sportsmanship. That's part of that's you're out competing. But when a parent does that in a quiet gym, when a girl on the opposing player puts the ball up in the air and goes to serve, and they're screaming for their team just real loud, right? Obviously trying to psych out the server. That's lame. Don't do that. Jodee, are you with me? That's my last take. Don't do that as a parent. Don't scream when the other team's about to serve, when it's quiet in the gym, and don't be that person. And don't clap when the other team hits the ball in the net.
I totally agree with you. If it's a great play, actually, as a coach and watching teams play, I clap when it's a great play by either team, because it's very hard to do. Okay, we're watching these girls 14 to 18 years old making incredible plays.
Yes. Yeah. And look, I'm guilty sometimes, especially in club, when there's the girls on their cell phone and they're not flipping the score right, and you got to yell point because they gave a point to the other team or they failed to give a point. So I hate hearing it. And I did it a little bit this weekend. So I apologize. So I'm not perfect, but I'm just trying to encourage positivity and not having parents try to psych out the opposing server. That's all I'm saying. That's my one last take. That's it. Well, hey, that's a good show. I hope your fans watched again, because you're doing a terrific job, not only doing this podcast, but also doing color commentary. I knew you'd be great with your knowledge, passion, and personality, and it's coming across, Coach. You're doing awesome. That's my one last take. I did two.
Thank you very much, Eric. You're doing a great job too. Thanks for doing this for volleyball.
You got it. Let's say goodbye. Justin Thomas is our director, producer, does a fabulous job, live streaming coordinator. But for all of us, I'm Eric Richey. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at a match sometime in person this week. If we do, come up and say hello.